Hey there guys, Sean and Don here with your weekly recap.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
You're seeing this on Friday,
Yeah.
although we may have pre-recorded
We
it.
may have pre-recorded. So let's talk
Welcome
about...
to the Storm King office.
Yeah.
This is where all the magic
we'll
happens.
take different vantage points as we need recordings. So on the lineup today, we're going to have a little discussion on intuitive eating, which we discussed last week.
Yeah, we actually had a lot of questions.
We did.
And several members have come to us and we've had good conversation this week with along those lines, with more along how we feel about it. So
we'll expand on that. What does our average week look like for us? We're going to talk about how do we take intuitive eating and how do we apply it post-vacation or post an event that we're doing there. What's our go-to proteins? Feature product, we'll talk about through that. Misconceptions with being toned. That's going to be a good one to talk about. Red Friday, the CrossFit Open, and we're going to wrap it up with our challenge there. So a lot to talk about, but hopefully you enjoy a bit to piece of this as we go. So intuitive eating, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so kind of along the lines of what we talked about last week, intuitive eating is really knowing what an appropriate amount of calories is for your body. And I know people get hung up a lot on calories and macros and all of that, and I know that that is a trigger for a lot of folks. However, we really like to educate our clients first on what's appropriate for them, and that nutrition has to be an individualized thing, because everybody is so different. It really matters how much muscle you carry on your body, because that really factors in so much with what your basal metabolic rate is, which means how much your body's going to burn naturally at rest already. So we take that number and we factor in your activity level, and then it helps us figure out what an appropriate amount is for you, not only your calories, but how much protein do you need to support your goals and all of that. So once a person has all of that information and has practiced doing it on a regular basis, then we absolutely encourage them to eat intuitively.
Yeah.
And for it to become a lifestyle. So it's not so much about it, it's not a diet. In fact, I tell my clients to not use that word because I hate it. We don't want to diet. We want to eat a certain way to support our goals. It is okay to be in a fat loss cycle for a short amount of time if your goal is to lose weight. That's okay. Most people need some help along that line. So once we've done all of that, we do like to help educate our clients on how to go forward and make this a lifestyle. And that's where that intuitive eating comes into play. You had a good analogy of
Well, and so I look at intuitive eating as just knowing what you need to eat, and it can be in any kind of form. We'll talk about what that looks like for us. It's basically what you like to eat, but it may be just making small adjustments to it. Mm-hmm. So my analogy is, if you ever played the game Sudoku, which is a numbers game, you have to first learn how to play the game, right, before you can figure out, how to solve the game. And that's kind of how it is with intuitive eating, is we have to kind of figure out what foods do we like, and then how do we maybe make small adjustments to what we currently eat to reach our goals. And then you figure out how to layer that into a day, however you like, and you'll either see weight loss or weight gain if we're going for a mass, or you'll just see steady state, right? So for us, how we normally, I think people get this misconception that Sean and Don, man, they don't do anything bad, right?
They don't struggle.
Yeah, I mean, or that we don't have cheeseburgers, we don't have beer, we don't have wine, we don't do any. That could not be farther from the truth.
How many times are you at the grocery store and you see a member and they're like, "Don't look at my cart"?
Yeah, don't look at my cart. Or they have shakes out. All they do is drink shakes. First off, we don't drink a shake very often. I mean, we used to have shakes quite a bit as we were figuring out our intuitive eating patterns, what we like to eat.
Protein drinks can be totally appropriate.
Absolutely. We'll talk through how they work too.
That's not necessary.
So our average, and we have our little splurges. So our average week is our big meal is breakfast for us, because we work out first thing in the morning. And
We're
our main,
super early risers. We get up at 4 most days, and,
yeah,
and we open the gym, and then by the time we're getting to breakfast, it's usually about 7:30.
and our,
That's our big meal.
and I don't want to get into macronutrients too much, but I'll just tell you there's three main ones: protein, carbohydrates, and fat, right? And so our main macronutrient that we try to build our meal around is some sort of protein. And then depending on how we do it, some sort of carbohydrate, and then sometimes a fat added, cheese or sour cream or whatever it might be. But we figure out how that works in any kind of recipe, and then we can mix and match and make all kinds of things. Quesadillas, tacos, it doesn't matter, spaghetti. We just know what it takes, and that's the intuitive part for it. Do we have hamburgers? Yes. Do we go to the gastropub and have a beer? Yes. Do we do it every day? No. But we do it, and we do it typically once or twice a week. We go out and have those things. Otherwise, we're making our food, right? And it's not that hard to do.
No.
So
And it's basic.
let's talk.
We're very basic eaters.
Yes,
Yeah.
very basic
Yeah,
eaters.
very simple, very
And we
quick.
combine a bunch of things at our house. So we saw one of our friends did a similar video this week, and she talked about that. It's just a combination of stuff, figuring out what you like to do to make your meal, and that's exactly how it should be done, right?
It should taste good.
Yeah.
It should taste good to you. If someone tells you to eat something that you don't like, you shouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
You should find something that you like that works for you, right? It shouldn't be a list of these are the foods you eat, these are the foods you don't eat.
Correct.
You want to get out of the mindset of these are good, these are bad, I did good, I did bad. That's not what food should be about. It should be choosing things that you like that support your goals. And let's say you, whatever, went out and had way more than you had planned. Oh well, just get up the next day and you're right back where you left off. It's
Now,
not gonna
Let's give
ruin
you
progress.
this little analogy, and let's figure out how you would respond, and hopefully you would respond how we are. If not, maybe you're going to reach out to us and we'll talk through some learning these styles there. As we talked about last time when we were kind of coming out of the 2020 in December, it took us a while to lose some extra body weight that we've been carrying through the pandemic, which was, it was stressful for everyone. And stress is a big indicator for you. It's hard to lose weight when your hormones and everything are way out of whack and your stress levels are high. So that's just one factor to keep in consideration. Dawn talks about that with all her clients. Sometimes she tells someone they're going through so much stress and it's like, now's not the time to go into this. Let's get consistent with working out, and if you can maintain consistency with working out, then let's layer this on when some of that stress is reduced for you, which is a really great point. But we were stressed in 2020, obviously. I think anyone was, and especially gym owners and cafe owners, really stressed. But we noticed it took a longer time for us to lose our weight all through the holidays, but it did come off. So we recently just took a trip. And for those that wonder, we eat at least 1/3 a year. We throw it in the epic bucket, right? We're having pizza and beer and all that. So over 1/3 of the year, that's how we're eating, right? And we can maintain a balanced, healthy weight doing that. So we were on a trip just recently, and we went crazy on it, right? We had a great time, and we ate. We didn't take anything back. We didn't really exercise. We walked every day.
We walked a lot.
We walked every day, at least 10,000 steps. So some activity. But we ate what we felt like and drank what we felt like. Did we gorge ourselves? Only 1 or 2 times. We
Not really,
ate till we were full, But when we came back, so I like to go into a little vacation at a little bit of a deficit, right? So I like to, where I like to maintain my weight's about 203 to 205 pounds. And keep in mind, I'm almost 50 and I'm well within my ideal body weight. I'm like 11% body fat typically, which is almost too low sometimes. But I like to get a little bit lower going into vacation, just for me, because I get to come out of it and maybe it's not such a far stretch. So I came home and I weighed 215 pounds the first night. Remember, I left at 202, came back at 215.
Holy smokes.
What would you do? Would you freak out?
13 pounds? You're a fatty.
Fatty.
I'm just kidding.
So the next day, I got on the scale, because that was the night, and it was 212, right?
First question, was that real weight?
Not real weight. Not real weight.
Is that 13 pounds of body fat?
Nope.
No.
Not at all. A lot of inflammation, all
Yes.
kinds of stuff
Travel,
happening there.
Flying, yes.
So, not real weight. Did I panic? Now ask yourself, what would you do? Didn't panic. I went right back into my eating pattern. The only thing I adjusted is I limited my fat for the first couple days, decided I'm not going to have any alcohol for that week, and I just limited my carbohydrates for a couple days, just a couple days. So I started to get that inflammation down. Today, I'm back down to like 204, which is probably where I'm
That's
at.
about what, 6 days post, 6 or 7 days
6 or
post
7
vacation.
days. How about you?
So, yeah, so let's see. I'm similar as far as we both kind of like to keep ourselves, we go into vacation a little bit lower, so holding back some calories, a little bit of a deficit, because we like to feel a little bit leaner because we know we're going to splurge and have things that we don't normally have and all of that. So we like to give a little bit of a buffer for that. So I was similar in that regard. So I think I like to hover, and this is very transparent. I know women don't like to tell their weight, so this isn't super comfortable for me. But I hover right around between 150, 155, and that's a good spot for me. Body fat percentage is right around 20, between 20 and 24, probably.
Which is really healthy for a lady.
Yeah, so right in those healthy ranges and where I'm comfortable and I feel good. And let's see, when I came back from our vacation, I was up 6 pounds. So, like 160, about 160, I think, when I got home. So,
Did you go right on a diet? Did you take some Omni drops?
so first of all, nope, I didn't diet. I didn't do anything crazy. I just, first day home, we just started eating our regular things again. Same as Sean.
The next day you had a glass of wine.
I did have a little glass of wine, yep, the next day. Not a lot of splurges for a bit, other than, maybe an occasional glass of wine, but just focused on really good choices and lean proteins and healthy carbs. And yeah, I'm back to where I was now, same as Sean, 6 or 7 days later. So it's important to remember, not just with vacation, but with anything that's out of the ordinary or anything that hits you in life, right? And you see that scale spike. It's not body fat necessarily, right? It takes time to build body fat. It takes time to lose body fat. So when you see the scale go up 3 pounds one day, or maybe it's down 3 pounds the next morning, that doesn't mean I just gained or I just lost. It just means the scale went up and the scale went down. So you really need, several weeks of showing a pattern before you can really determine, was that body fat or, was that muscle gain or whatever it might be. So you really need to sustain that number for a bit.
Yeah.
So don't freak out with those fluctuations. You just get right back into what you were doing, drink lots of water, right? All of those things that we know are good for us. And then this is how it becomes a lifestyle. So
it really is.
that's really our passion to teach people, is that you don't have to diet. You don't have to do things that are crazy. It might take you a few years to get where you want to be, but that's okay. You're doing it the right way. You're doing it the safe way. You're being healthy. You're making good choices, and you're teaching your kids and your family and your community by your example. That it doesn't have to be a quick fix. It doesn't have to be a fad. It doesn't have to be trendy. We say it every single week, and I will always say it. The simple never stopped working.
Correct.
Right? When it comes to nutrition and science-backed, all those trends or whatever, those all come and go. But the simple facts of it's calories in and it's calories out, and it's activity that you need in your life, some sort of movement to help offset that, and you can maintain.
Yes, absolutely.
Still reach your goals. You can reach your goals and have a beer. You can reach your goals and have a donut, whatever it might be that you love.
I've had
But
two
you just
big
have
old
to know
Safeway cookies
how
this
to
week
work those
already.
in, right? And it can become routine so that you can be intuitive with it, and you don't need to track all of the time forever. Some people like to. Some people, it's a trigger and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
anyway.
and like Dawn, one little funny thing about Dawn and I mean, every night we like to have a chocolate ball in bed.
Oh yeah.
It's like our fun little
Lindor
go-to.
white chocolate
I
truffle.
love it.
One
So,
every night.
Not yet on that. What about our go-to protein? So we talk about combining stuff, and
Yeah.
we don't do a lot of food prep. We buy things that are easy to put together. The only thing that we really do prep a little bit in advance is just our protein. So we love to get ground turkey and chicken, and we'll get a bunch of it, and we'll just cook it up, and we'll put it in a big Rubbermaid, and as we're combining our
4 or
meals,
5
we'll just
pounds a week.
But yeah,
That's a lot.
we'll put it in and make it. It's delicious, and you can do that with most proteins. You can get the canned tuna, the fish. Yeah, our other love protein right now is those little shrimp, those little marinated shrimp from Costco that you get back in
They're
their,
already peeled and deveined and all the good stuff.
boy, love those.
Delicious.
So
But
I mean, throw
they
this
pack a ton of protein.
they're
Yeah.
very good. And then we'll buy. We typically have like a couple protein bars and stuff for grab and go stuff if we're out busy, and we can just have something that we can make a better decision on.
Greek yogurt and cottage cheese or
You love,
Or
and I love cottage cheese too. You got me hooked on that. We do use the
Non-fat.
non-fat because we just trying to keep those calories in, calories out, and I really like it. It's really good with the turkey in it. And you know what? My little splurge with it. I take a little bag of the schoolyard bag of Doritos, the orange kind. I crunch them up and I put it in my cottage cheese with the turkey. Freaking delicious. I love it. And I put a little garlic sauce. One of my favorite go-to snacks. I'm making myself hungry talking about it.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's just pretty much straight up protein.
Yeah, and so we then we buy lots of vegetables and we use rice and potatoes and all these other things that
Quick tip is that a couple of years ago I switched to basically everything pre-cut. So if you work a lot of hours and you're really busy and you have a busy family, I am all about and I support convenience. So nowadays everything is pre-cut for you, everything is pre-sliced.
We buy a lot of frozen.
So I buy frozen veggies and I buy a lot of fresh veggies, but I just make sure I get it already all chopped and prepped. So I'm just throwing it in a pan and cooking it or grabbing it out the door and going. Make it easy on yourself.
And I think a misconception people think you think a meal should be identified by what we traditionally think. You think a breakfast should be pancakes, waffles, toast, and eggs. It can be that, but it doesn't have to be, right?
We eat meat and veggies.
We eat meat and
every
veggies
morning.
every
for
morning
breakfast.
with
we throw in rice.
toast.
Sometimes we throw in an egg.
We'll put a sautéed egg on top. We like on Tuesday. We always have Taco Tuesday in the morning, so we make ourselves little tacos with no eggs in it. It wouldn't look anything like breakfast. You know, it's delicious.
Right, but nobody said you had to have breakfast foods at breakfast time.
No one said you can have breakfast at dinner too, right?
Whatever works.
So that's one thing to think about as you're doing that.
Yeah.
So
So do you need to supplement with protein? That's a big question we get asked a lot. Do I need to supplement?
Supplement with whey?
Mm-hmm.
It depends. It depends. Are you hitting your protein numbers
Easily.
Easily. Is it something that works in your lifestyle? And if so, not necessarily. We supplement with whey, not every day, but it is like a meal that we'll make at certain times. Like I like to come down on my lunch break, and one of the things I love is like some granola and some Greek yogurt and a scoop of, we'll talk about our featured product here, whey, vanilla whey in it, and some blueberries. And it's a really good high protein meal, a little bit of carb, very low fat, and I like it a lot. So, but do you need to? No, but it's very helpful to have on. Some people have a shake every day. It works for them. Awesome. Some people, like especially people that are struggling to hit their protein numbers, that's what we find often, is that's the most common macronutrient.
That people are deficient,
And it's the most important one. It is the most important one to hit. And if you meet with us, we'll tell you why. So let's talk about our feature for this week. Driven Whey. Bum, bum, bum. We sell this.
Driven Nutrition is the brand that we carry.
In the
Check it
cafe.
out if you're curious. They're very clean.
Very, very clean. So we look at calories and the amount of protein, a little bit on the sugar. This is about as good as you can get, right? So it's got 130 calories. Per scoop. It is 23 grams of protein and only 4 grams of sugar. And it is delicious.
And it's grass fed. It's
It's
very
grass
clean.
fed. Yeah, it's very, very clean.
It's not
so
full of
we
all the
stock
other
this on our shelf and a bunch of other supplements from Driven.
Tell us about the flavors we
So
carry.
right now we have vanilla, cinnamon roll, chocolate shake. We have strawberry and caramel latte on the shelf. So
Yeah,
if
there's
you're like,
also a few other ones like banana cream pie,
Yeah.
caramel latte. Yeah, those are good too.
yeah. So those are like good to have, and this is if anything like the first supplementation that we usually talk about. It's like let's get some whey, right? And it's easy for people to get, and it's easy to mix into your day. And find the balance for it. So
I recommend often supplementing with whey for those a lot of clients who are who work a desk job, don't necessarily have like a designated lunch hour or don't have time, right, to grab and eat as they're eating at their desk. That's when a drink, can come in really handy. It allows you to get your nutrition on board and allows you to keep your protein high without really having to fill your stomach with a meal.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
a good point.
it's also a great meal replacement.
If they're over full.
Yeah.
Now, misconception today.
What?
I just want to be toned. We get this all the time. They come in.
Okay, well, to be honest, most often it's a females.
Yeah, not guys don't really come in and say.
And I would say almost every female that I meet with, at some point during their consultation, I hear the word, I just want to be toned. As I ask them what their goals are, I want to be toned, I want to get more toned,
I don't want to get bulky.
Yes,
that's the other thing.
So the flip side of it.
So first off, bulky. Unless you carry a lot of natural muscle already, working out 1 hour a day is not going to make you bulky. Not at all.
You got to put on a ton of time.
You have to be purposely hitting
more of like an elite athlete
2
or
to 3 times
style athlete,
thing.
Who's putting in a ton of volume.
But tone is just seeing your muscle, right, from underneath your fat. I mean, that's what tone is.
So toned, there's really no such thing.
Yeah.
All you're doing is you're decreasing your body fat and you're exposing the muscle that you already carry. Or you're continuing to build muscle and expose it at the same time.
Correct.
So it's usually a 2-factor process. We're losing body fat, we're gaining muscle.
Correct.
All of a sudden you start to see the muscle that you have.
Correct.
And that's how that happens.
And
you're not losing skin or anything like that, or tightening the skin necessarily.
So
different.
Tone is just, and you can get tone just by starting some activity. But more often than not, we need to get the activity and get consistent with the activity. And that's going to reduce some weight, depending on how much weight you're carrying, a degree. But at some point, we need to start looking at your nutrition if you have further goals to see more tone, muscle definition in your arms or shoulders and stuff, appropriately for your size and build, right? So it's not about being toned, it's about seeing your muscle, and the way we see that is through increased activity and better nutrition habits, right? I mean, that's the real thing on it. So Red Friday.
What's Red Friday?
Remember, everyone deploy.
Yes.
This starts officially tomorrow. Well, we tried to do it last Friday, but and so we do have these Red Friday shirts. We do still have some up to sale. This is the women's tank. We think it's awesome.
Yep.
I just need a shirt on the back here. Here, I'll go this way.
There you
Why don't
go.
you fold that open there?
Yeah. Red Friday, remember everyone deployed. Yeah.
And then we have, right now we have some women's t-shirt cut, and we have male t-shirt cuts.
Yeah. If you're interested, let us know. They're $25.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have
Take
there.
part in our communities. Loving it so far. Lots of these you'll see.
So it's actually Thursday night, and the CrossFit Open announcement comes in about an hour. And so we're not sure what the workout's going to be, but we know we're going to tackle as community for our CrossFit class tomorrow. Our boot camp class, they'll be doing their normal boot camp workout. Last week they had a combination of, they had a bunch of wall walks and double unders where they did, sometimes they did bear crawls. CrossFit Open workouts, they get modified. You can modify them all kinds of ways, so they're doable by everyone. In fact, they have like
an at-home version is
an at-home and an adapted version, so people that might not have an arm or missing a leg or missing 2 legs, they have this whole adaptive style too, which is really neat, and it's pretty inspirational to see those people tackling it and
absolutely
getting after it. The other thing,
our kettlebell challenge.
Kettlebell challenge is happening, yes. And
about what, 10 more days? A little over 10 days.
We had to start over simply because
we couldn't find our kettlebell.
Yeah, it was hard to find a kettlebell where we were at. So we're starting over, and it's 50 Russian kettlebell swings, unbroken is the goal, and it's to build up to as heavy as you can do it.
Fun fact, one of my morning or noon ladies told me today that she has lost inches, and she's convinced it's from the kettlebell challenge. Is all she's done differently, and she's seeing just in the midsection like things are changing. So that'll be interesting to see if other people notice that too.
Maybe you should be doing that. So come on in.
Yeah.
Other than that, anything else? That's been a long video.
Sorry, that nutrition is our jam.
Yeah,
so
we'll talk about it. We'll continue these.
If you don't need that help, just feel free to skip over.
Also, if you're interested in our content, this is going to be on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, and anytime we actually put something on there, you'll actually be able to get a notification on it.
And once we have 1,000 subscribers, we can just go live there.
We could go live there. All right, guys. Thank you. Have a great day.
Happy weekend. Bye, friends.
Bye.